For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. So I think everybody's obsessed with relationships these days, whether they're working, whether they're not. Social media comes into play a lot. And so we've got one of our favorite guests, Dr. Karin Anderson, who's going to be joining us for the entire half hour, talking about relationships and even answering some of your questions that you have sent in as well. So sit back, relax. If you like commenting on people's relationships, because that's the best way to do it. If it's not your own, sit back and look at other people. We're going to be doing that today right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Oh, I always love talking about relationships with our next friend of the show, Dr. Karin Anderson. Her book, Single is the New Black. She was on our show several weeks ago, I guess. Back again to talk about relationships. Dr. Karin, hello there.
Hi, how are you, Jeremy?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay, so relationships aren't going anywhere. I guess they are. They're sometimes going down the tubes. They're not having a great success these days. Lots of factors, though. We're going to cover a whole bunch of them today. We're going to talk, like online dating profiles. We touched upon that last time. And then kids in relationships. When's the right time to introduce a kid, if you have one? Or when's the right time to even maybe have kids? And then pets in relationship. This is a biggie because they're just like kids. So, Dr. Karin, we're going to talk about all of these things. Are you ready for it?
Oh, you bet.
We had a question sent in. Somebody was saying that they were always cheated on and want to know, is it me? Do I let people do it? Is it that they're the people who are doing it? The cheaters are the bad people? Why are some people constantly cheated on?
Yeah, that is such a great question. And the way to look at it, you don't want to blame the victim, right? Someone's already, gone through multiple experiences of being cheated on, and you don't want to say, hey, it's your fault. But we also have, as adults in relationships, we have to take ownership for our part. And so if you find that there's a pattern in your life, there's something that's going on that you're not seeing, right? Because you can't be dating 10 people in a row and they all cheated on you. So it's something that you are attracted to or drawn to in a partner, and you're missing that this person is a dog and that they're slick and that they're going to cheat on you. So then that's where you have to try to figure out, what am I missing that I keep A, attracting and being attracted to cheaters, and B, that I'm not getting that they're going to cheat on me, and so I'm committing to them when I shouldn't because they're not a good fit for me because they're going to be mean and hurtful.
Okay, so let's look deeper then. So is it because maybe they've just been treated badly by so many people? It's just what they're accustomed to? What makes somebody feel that way then?
Yeah. See, you're good.
I'm learning. I'm getting this.
Psychology right there. See, because there's something that what would bother another person or would be a red flag for a person who hadn't been treated poorly for a long, long time in other relationships, probably even this person is missing, right? So it could be. It could be the age-old Psych 101, their dad cheated on their mom, and so the only men that they are, like you said, even comfortable with, and that's sad, but they're comfortable with someone who's a jerk, essentially. And so, again, I'm a psychologist, so I'm going to encourage people to get into some counseling because you have to tease that out, because if the pattern keeps repeating itself, you're not going to break it on your own. You need some objectivity that a therapist can give you.
I would opt for medication. Would medication help me?
Jeremy, I would suggest counseling first, and then you look at medication is not can I help you not take a cheater?
You know what? Many people have suggested counseling, I should say. So it's certainly not something that's going to be worked through overnight, obviously. But then is it a matter of, like, also you telling yourself, I deserve better? Like, that almost seems kind of hokey. But does that work?
Some of the hokey stuff actually does work. It's so interesting because you're right. People do have this deserve mentality, and I hear it a lot. And it's something I don't personally connect with. And I think, people be like, oh, she really deserves to be happy. And I'm like, well, who doesn't deserve to be happy? So, but I think what you're getting at essentially is that someone, for some reason, is when someone's mistreating them. Because a cheater probably, if you've been in a relationship for like a couple months, they probably, before they even cheated on you, they probably treated you poorly in another way, right? But you didn't identify that as, hey, that's not okay, and either A, immediately assert yourself and say, what just happened. And again, it wouldn't be the cheating now. It would be some other misstep that they made that for some reason you didn't step up and say, I'm not cool with that. A, or B, just get out of the relationship. Because, within the first couple months, people are showing you who they are, but again, these folks who are the victims of being cheated on, they're missing it somehow. And is it that they don't really believe that they deserve to be treated well? That could be part of it. It could be one of those core self-esteem issues.
We use the word victim. At the same time, we kind of let people do things to us if we allow them to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of one of the things that we can say that, you hurt me, you did this, but we've also kind of allowed them by staying with them or not taking them to task on things that they've done in the past, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's what I'm getting at, is that somehow these people who have been victimized, but they're contributing to it. Now, not when you're a child, of course, you don't have control, but as adults, we have control of the relationships that we remain in. And so if someone is in that pattern of always being cheated on, then you have to go, well, why are they, like you're saying, not stepping up and saying, hey, that's not okay, or just leaving? I'm not a fan of, like, early in a relationship, I don't want to tell someone to treat me nicely. If I have to tell you that early in a relationship when you're supposed to be bringing me your A game, that's just like, you show me who you are. It's not a fit because you're a jerk and I don't want to be treated badly, so I'm out. But sometimes I think people, because they're fearful of being alone, or they think, gosh, I got to make this work. No, you don't need to make this work. This person's a jerk. They're going to treat you poorly, and you can't change them. But what you can change is the circumstances and get yourself out of that relationship.
What I always enjoy is seeing people, and I wanted to go this entire show without referencing Bachelor, but we have to. Is when they meet the families, and that's always something too, right? Because your friends or your family, they can take a step back and they can observe and make comments about your relationship. It's no different than me when I watch my brother's parenting. I don't have kids, but I can see that your kids are nuts. But people get so defensive when we obviously, when you comment on somebody's relationships and they say, he's not that great for you, or, she's kind of whatever. People defend their partner, which is good, but what should people listen to? Maybe if it's not like personal opinion, like I would almost go and say, if you're telling me using words like jerk or whatever, you're editorializing, that's not cool. But if you can give me facts and actual examples of something they've done. But it's hard when, people just feel attacked when it's their relationship. How should people take that sort of criticism from friends or family?
Yeah, see, that's a really, really great point, because we have to have ears to hear, right? And if someone comes at me and, like you said, blanket statements calling someone a jerk, or he's no good for you, just like generally speaking, rather than giving concrete examples of what bothers them about what they're observing in the dynamics of our relationship, for example, if you don't say those things in a way that they can hear, then they're not going to listen. And it's just going to cause a rift between you and them. And I think what's hard, too, with friends and family is that people have their own agenda, right? So, for example, if my mom and my dad had a problem with someone I was dating, then maybe, and this actually happened to me when I was younger, they didn't care for this guy I was dating in the last couple of years of college. And it was because, his career path they didn't think was good enough for me, right? Because I'm their darling daughter who's going to be this brilliant psychologist, and he needed to be something other than what they didn't think he was good enough for me. Now maybe they saw some things that were probably not the best fit, and I didn't marry this guy, and I'm happily married now. So they probably were right. What they had to say in general is right, but in this case, they were giving me pinpointing things about his career that just made me think, well, why are you being so snobby that he wants to be a gym teacher and that's not good enough for you, that kind of thing. And so it's hard because everyone else has an agenda too about your relationship. So that's why, again, I encourage counseling, because you get out of the friends and family realm and you get into a real space of objectivity through a counselor's eyes.
I love doing this to the doctor. We have him on the line. Bruce Jenner, are you there? Oh, Bruce Jenner's not on the line. All right. Well, we couldn't get him.
Fantastic.
He's busy having his show canceled. Shifting gears, though. Actually, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about pets in relationships and then also kids in relationships. We'll have more with Dr. Karin Anderson right after this.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Our favorite relationship guru. She judges your relationships. That's really what she does. Dr. Karin Anderson, Single is the New Black, one of the best books out there. Thanks again for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
Okay, so they always tell you in show business, don't work with animals or children, right? You've probably heard that line before.
No, I haven't, but I can understand it.
Okay.
They're kind of unruly.
Well, there's 2 dogs in this room right now, and they're behaving for once. But same thing goes for relationships, because obviously they play a part in relationships. We'll talk about kids in a second, but pets in relationship, this seems to be a big deal, because if you come into a relationship with a pet, that's one thing. If you acquire or adopt or whatever a pet during the relationship, that's another. Then when you break up, whole new scenario. Let's talk about all those things. So if I'm coming into a relationship, I've got 2 dogs, I'm coming into a relationship, those dogs are mine, but over the course of the relationship, they're ours. Are they mine when we break up then? How should it work?
Well, this is probably a case-by-case basis. I have a friend who just went through this. She was living with her boyfriend for, I think, about 5 or 6 years, and so they actually did acquire 2 dogs together. And it was, when they broke up and started living in separate residences, there was this whole thing about custody. And it was very similar to what parents go through when they get divorced and how they deal with the custody of the children. And so there was initially this, well, you can have them on the weekends, and then I'll have them during the week, and it got a little complex and dicey. And she ended up keeping them, and then it's kind of nice the way it works out now. So whenever she goes out of town or she needs help, she is able to drop them off with her ex-boyfriend. But yeah, that's a real thing. It is.
Should they be part of a prenup or something? Like, what would you suggest for people?
Hey, I think a prenup is not a bad idea, but I don't know in a relationship. For a marriage, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the pooches or the kitties included in a prenup.
Switching gear then to the 2-legged children in the household. And I don't want to get into your whole previous marriage with Donald Trump. That's another issue. I'm not talking out of turn, am I? See, never mind, we won't get into it. But kids, how, going also back to the Bachelor thing, because we see that, right? How soon is it to introduce someone to your kids? Now, it's one thing to say, this is mommy's friend, okay, cool, general term, not, hey, this might be your new daddy. What are your thoughts on introducing kids?
Wait. It was hard for kids. They've already had the loss of the 2-parent household. And now mommy is probably not, if she's dating, she's probably not spending quite as much time with her children. And daddy's not in the house anymore. And they're bouncing back and forth. And then for mommy to introduce a slew of men into these children's lives, and and maybe for 6 months this guy is kind of a father figure for a while because he's around, but then mommy breaks up with this guy and then there's a new guy. That's just a lot of disruption and chaos for children. So I counsel and encourage people to wait. I mean, even as long as until you're engaged. But what people don't like is they go, I want to see how he acts around my kids because that'll let me know if he's going to be a good stepdad. And I understand that, but really you should be able to see that in observing him with nieces and nephews or other children that you observe, because to do this to your children is to me just adding one more disruption and potential loss to their lives, and they've already gone through enough.
So when the mom is, I'm going to use the term on the prowl. You've seen Bachelor in Paradise. I'm not going to name names on that show, but we know who I'm talking about. Right. Should she, and I'm saying the mother in general, should she be looking for a guy that does have like fatherly instincts? Should she be looking for a man who is more respectful of her? A combination of both? What should her priority be? And I hate using the term looking or searching for. What should be the focus of her attention when she's out to meet a man and sizing him up? Let's be honest.
Right. No, that's a great question, because it is different than when you're single and you don't have any children in tow. You can just, whatever works for you works for you. But when you're a mother, now you have another huge responsibility to be concerned with. And so you need to, if you're going to, especially, and I don't want to get really dark here, but, the rates of abuse with stepfathers against children, both physical and otherwise, are higher than with biological fathers. So you have to be careful. You're bringing a person into your home who, children are vulnerable to adults in their home, and you need to make sure this person is going to be do right by your children. And so, you have. It actually concerns me quite a bit. Like, I wasn't good with Amanda introducing Ben to her kids a couple seasons ago. I thought that just wait.
We're just to catch everybody up. We're referencing Bachelor people in case anybody's not familiar there.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Back talking with 7 times a bride, Dr. Karin Anderson. I'm talking out of turn, aren't I, Doctor? I shouldn't have said that.
No, I'm all about authenticity, so I'm really glad that you're letting your listeners know.
Because we've already recapped. You've been with Bruce Jenner and Donald Trump, but you know what? There's money there, so if anything, you made out good with the cash. No?
Yeah, I'm taken care of. Thank you.
Obviously, more and more people dating profiles. That's the thing to do. So many pictures, so little substance. When I was scrolling through pages the other day when we were prepping for this show. There's a lot of like glam shots and half-naked mirror selfies that kind of catch your attention, but that person might not keep your attention very long. So that might seem to be where people make the mistake, no?
Well, it's funny because I agree with you, and I think everyone's perception is that it's pretty much just scrolling through photos. But then when I talk to singles, they're like, no, I actually read the bio. I really do. And that's both men and women. So I'm not sure, because I'm with you. I see it and it looks just like picture, and trying to maybe some titillating to kind of capture your attention. But according to singles I'm talking to, they are reading bios.
I laugh at the way these pages are set up, and like I said, I haven't downloaded apps, I haven't gone to, but in looking at this, the way they lay out the people's pages, it's like you're scrolling through, like the police lineup, where they show you the 6 guys. That's kind of how I feel. Like, you're almost not even a person at that point. You're just scrolling through just boxes and boxes of mugshots, almost is what it is. And it just seems so impersonal. It's popular, so don't get me wrong, people are doing it. I would almost not put a picture at all and then just write like sort of like is it a headline? I don't know what you call it. But like I would have just sort of something that catches your interest And then the fact that you've now gone to my page to read what I have to say, and maybe I have, one picture of me with my dogs or something that interests me, then I'm more apt to sort of be interested, or, you seemed interested in my brain and my personality or my sense of humor. So I'm, the fact that you've looked and you've read and you've messaged, that goes a little bit further than, hey, nice rack, hey, nice body, wouldn't you think? That's just me.
Well, no, I think that would be a valid approach, because you would then certainly weed out people who were only interested in seeing some shot of your hot bod, and so they're gonna take the time to actually read, and then without a photo. But I mean, the problem is you're gonna weed. I mean, and I don't know, maybe that would work. But what I hear is that people, when they don't put photos on, people get really irritated and they won't even bother. So I think maybe to have a photo, but like we talked about last time, have a photo where you're comfortable. This is your lead. This is your lead into this relationship or this potential relationship. So you want to be sure you're leading with what you're about. And if you're good with, if you're a guy and all you care about is that a woman likes your six-pack abs, then that's fine. Or if you're a woman and all you care about is that the guy appreciates your bikini body, that's fine. But then, if you're in a relationship with someone after time and they don't want to have a conversation with you because they really didn't care what you thought about, or like you said, your sense of humor or anything, all they want is to talk about your bod and appreciate your bod, then, you kind of can't blame anyone because that's what you led with.
I've heard from somebody who is very active on these pages, and they've made an observation that people are changing their picture, like their main display or whatever you call it, your main photo, almost like every day religiously. I laugh at that, going, if the person wasn't attracted to you yesterday, just because you've now changed your hair or something today, like, I feel that's very, I don't know, I just think it's shallow. Like, you found me attractive, why didn't you have the nerve to write to me yesterday when I looked one way and now today you do? You always have these people who have pictures from 5 years ago. But at the same time, my argument would be, I haven't changed that much in 5 years, so if it's that important what I look like, then are we headed in the wrong direction for this relationship?
Yeah, I mean, it does. And I think that's, again, when I talk to singles, they're very frustrated, where it feels like if I don't, like you're saying, so what? 5 years ago, I probably looked pretty much the same. Or like you're saying, do I have to get, a photographer and have a full-on fashion shoot and upload new pictures every single day because everyone's attention span is so low that they can't handle, seeing my profile with the same picture? And I think it's just a level of detachment that's related to all this, that people feel it's not a true connection, because how can it be? It's all digital. It's on your phone or it's on the computer. And I think the singles they're feeling very tired because it's like, I have to answer up who I am on this app and hope that someone's actually going to stop swiping and actually stay on my profile for a split second. And so it just feels very detached and very, like you're saying, shallow. And so there's a lot of frustration. I think with anything technologically speaking, there are certainly perks that we all enjoy, but there is a level of detachment that occurs in very many realms, and certainly in the dating realm.
Let's talk about then online dating. Neve, the host of MTV's Catfish, was on our show last week. We talked about online social media profiles anyway, where people are sort of misled and duped. Let's talk about the feelings behind it, because Neve was saying that you kind of just get to a point where the person's giving you the runaround. They have all these excuses for not wanting to meet you. But then why would you want to be meeting somebody in the first place if you're lying about who you are? So take me into somebody's brain when they're the victim of this. What is it that makes them just want to refuse to let go? I've given her or him chance after chance after chance. It's just hurt after hurt after hurt. When is the right time to let go?
Right. It kind of gets back to what we talked about earlier in the show, because it's talking about you're setting yourself up to be the victim, and then you're stepping into it, and you're remaining in that space. Because, again, even with the online dating, with these relationships where they're meeting in chat rooms, that show is fascinating. But, like you, I watch it, and I go, come on. This person only was going to message you for, 8 months. And you kept talking about meeting face-to-face, and they kept refusing and skirting the issue. And yet, for some reason, you still felt a desire to message them that night or 70 times a day. To me, I'm like, what was appealing about this? What was compelling to keep you locked into this very phony relationship? And then when the signs were all there, when someone says, oh, I'm so in love with you, you make my life complete, and yet they don't want to lay eyes on you ever and have a cup of coffee. I mean, this is so absurd. So I'm with you. It's fascinating just to look at the psyche of someone. And I think what's essentially happening is they are, well, for whatever reason, and oftentimes it's young people who aren't 100% fully feeling okay about themselves, kind of like what we talked about earlier. They don't really know who they are. They're still figuring that out, and that's fine. But so a real relationship feels very threatening to them, so they prefer this very dissociated relationship as well.
But the other week, there was a guy who was chatting with somebody for 6 years thinking that it was Katy Perry. I mean, come on.
I mean, I know. I mean, truly, that's fine, but really, those kinds of scenarios do exist, and they are that outrageous. They really are. And, again, that's just someone, Jeremy, who they're just not okay with a real, warm, living, like, warm-blooded, like, touchy-feely, actually having a true relationship with someone. So the dissociated relationship feels safe and comfortable for them, and a fantasy relationship, obviously. Because, I mean, are you kidding me? Truly thinking that Katy Perry is carrying on this relationship with you for 6 years? At that level, I'm thinking they really... That's where medication may need to come in. Medication boy.
You have to, when we're done the show, you need to go and watch this episode, because you probably would have been, like, screaming at the TV. I can imagine it right now. You'd throw your wine glass. I know you would. And you'd be just going, you're stupid, you're an idiot, but then there's a humor, but there's also kind of a sadness. And this is not a joke either, after they even introduced him to the girl that was lying, he still didn't believe that it was her, and then emailed saying, well, they introduced me to this person, Katie, and they're saying that was you. Even after they introduced the guy, you have to Karin, watch this after the show and tweet me about it. You have to do that.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
But, honestly, it's like you said, I get to that point pretty quickly when I watch it. I just feel so bad for these people, Jeremy. I do. I feel so bad. Like, I'm just... I know this show, I mean, it's a really incredible show, because you just can't believe that people are spending that kind of time and emotional energy in a total, it's a fallacy. The entire thing is a sham. And I just feel so bad for them. I just want them to get help. Single
is the new black. What does that mean to you?
It means that being single is actually, statistically speaking, at least in America, over 50% of adults are single right now. And the reality is, being single longer, like we talked about earlier in the show as well, being single longer actually prepares you better for a strong marriage when that happens. And there's no need to feel any shame about being single, although there is single shaming out there. But yeah, it's the new black, and don't wear white till it's right.
You pissed away the opportunity to promote the book itself, though.
I did? Okay, well, so what's great about my book and why I need to write it, it's the book that I wish had been available to me when I was single, because I dated from 15 and didn't marry until 42. So I had 27 years in the jungle that is the dating scene. And the books are typically wanting to tell you and tell singles that they are doing something wrong. And I knew that I was flawed like any other human being on the planet, but I also didn't think that I was so fundamentally flawed and so tragically flawed that no one would ever want to marry me. But due to the pressure, I almost married the wrong person. I think we talked about that last time I was on the show, at 34. And all the books that I would reach out to in the self-help section to look for help, they were all telling me, you're doing something wrong. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm just not going to settle. And actually, I think that's doing something right. And so I wrote my book as a word of encouragement to help single ladies and gentlemen remain strong and true to themselves and wait for something extraordinary rather than just getting into some mediocre marriage just so everyone will get off their back.
And people can read more about it where?
They can find it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. They can go to my website, Dr. Karin, DrKarin.me, and they can pick up a copy and, enjoy my list so they can hear what I'm about. And they can see my last podcast episode. They can listen to it that I did with you a couple months ago. And, so that's where I am.
Dr. Karin Anderson, again, Single is the New Black. Thank you so much for once again joining us.
Anytime. Thanks for having me on the show.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you very much, Larson. Yes, we are on Twitter at The Scribble Show, at The Scribble Show. And I'm also on Twitter from my own account. It's at SF as in Speak Free SF Celeb Watch. SF Celeb Watch when I'm live tweeting. And we mentioned The Bachelor, or Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelorette, all those shows. I enjoy live tweeting those as well. So at SF Celeb Watch if you want to follow along. Again, my thanks to Dr. Karin Anderson, chatting everything relationships today. If there's anything that you want to chime in on, or if you want to be on the show, we'd love to have you chatting about whatever's on your mind. Send an email to live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com, thescribbleshow.com, and subscribe on SoundCloud and iTunes. My name is Jeremy Bradley. I will talk to you next time on The Scribble. Bye-bye now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,